Now here is a subject for a video that I want to do for quite a while. I want to take a look at both versions of NHLPA Hockey 93. The much beloved Sega Genesis version, take a look at that. There we go, we've all seen it a million times. And also the Super Nintendo version, which does not get as much love as perhaps some of the other versions of the game out there. A lot of people have been asking me to do a side-by-side comparison to see how they have similarities and dissimilarities. So you know what? I'm going to give you people what you want, in high definition no less. Alright, so I'm going to try the Sega Genesis version first. And as you can see there, it's the classical setup. Clearly the music and some of the presentation in the game are quite different depending on which console you're using. Right off the bat, I love the music on the Sega Genesis version. I think it's a no contest when you compare the two. I absolutely adore this theme song. If I could have a ringtone on my phone, it'd probably be this. Let's look at some other things as far as presentation goes in the game. Let's see, the selection screen here, you have pretty much all the same modes. You got regular season, playoffs. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Playoffs, regular season. 1-2 teammates play head-to-head. You have the same number of teams. Of course, as we all know by now, we don't actually have the official NHL licenses or logos, but you do have the appropriate city names for the most part, except for Long Island. And all of the uniforms correspond to their real-life NHL counterparts. And of course, we have actual NHL players, which is pretty awesome. Let's see, line changes, you can turn penalties on and off, set the period lengths. Let's see, do one game. I think I'll be Ottawa, Montreal. We got a playoff game here. So you can see, we're going to see in the Super Nintendo version, this presentation here is actually a little bit different. But it's pretty standard, it's mostly text-based. You get a good friend Ron Barr up there, giving us literally an entire phone book manual worth of information between the two. So you get a lot of options. You can change the goalie, edit lines, team roster, playoff stats. I mean, it's all pretty standard. I've always kind of preferred NHL 94 as an overall game, but I think this is probably the more fun two-player experience, in my opinion. So I want you to pay very close attention to the character models because they're quite different amongst the two games. Obviously, you can't really tell it from the video, but also the controls are very different. There's more weight, I think, in the Super Nintendo version, but I think overall the characters play way more smoothly in the Genesis version. And so I mean, really, what more can I tell you about NHLPA Hockey 93? It's a great game. Plays fantastically, both offensively and defensively. I think in some ways it might actually even be a better defensive playing game than even NHL 94. And I've always kind of thought this was a better multiplayer game compared to NHL 94, which I had the better single player mode. So anyway, yeah, I mean, really, what more can I say? Look at the visuals, looks great, very crisp. The animations, I think, are absolutely outstanding. That might be the big thing here. As far as there being major differences between the two versions of the game, aside from the cosmetic stuff. It's a fun game. I really don't ever want to stop playing it, to be honest. Once I even do it just for like a video, so I want to keep going. It just feels so smooth and fun and awesome and intuitive. So yeah, I really can't say enough good things about this game. They're great. You know, the games are just flat out iconic. And yeah, this plays terrific. So anyway, that is once again the Sega Genesis version of NHLPA Hockey 93. This other stuff, you have crowd meter also in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to power that one off real quick and switch on over to the Super Nintendo version of NHLPA Hockey 93. And I apologize if I've been calling it the wrong name. I've called it NHL 94. My sincerest apologies. Alright, so here we go. Super Nintendo version. As you can see right off the bat, the music is definitely different, and in my humble opinion, nowhere near as great as it is on the Sega Genesis version. So, looking at the opening screen here, presentation looks pretty similar. You have more or less the exact same options you have in the Genesis version. So, I always play as Los Angeles. I don't know why I didn't do that for the Genesis recap. I'm going to play Chicago because I hate them. So we're going to do a regular season game, kind of give you a sort of a comparison. Other things you can do. Yeah, the exact same things that you can do in the Genesis version. So as far as playoff options, they're pretty much identical. I'm playing Winnipeg now. So anyway, I cannot tell you just how much I hate the music in this game. It's just an absolute abomination compared to the vastly superior Genesis iteration, in my opinion. So the presentation here looks very similar. I'm kind of weirded out here because I think the actual visuals are better on the Genesis than on the Super Nintendo version, which is sort of a rarity. So anyway, enough of that. Same introduction. Now take a look at the graphics. You got to be really subtle here. But the huge difference you'll see here right off the bat is that, well, it's way slower. It is a much slower game compared to the Genesis version. It feels way sleepier as well. It has a way more arcadey feel. As you can see, I'm scoring points already. Player models, I don't think look as good on the Super Nintendo version. They look a little bit thin. I don't think they look as realistic as they do on the Genesis version. But like I said, really the key factor here is about gameplay. And this is weird because I want to say that the graphics on the Genesis version are not only better just in terms of, I want to say palette and colors, but I think it's definitely way better in the animation department. I think looking at this game, you can tell it's a very slow game compared to the Genesis version. I'm not saying it's a bad game, because it's a really fun game. It's just, when you compare the two, I mean, it's clearly this is not the optimal way to experience NHLPA Hockey 93. Now, one of the things that I really do like about the game is, and this is one of the few areas where I think the Super Nintendo version has a leg up on the Genesis version, is there's a little bit more weight to the characters, I think. Like when you nail off a slap shot, I mean, it feels extremely powerful. You feel like you're Al McGinnis knocking off a rocket. So yeah, that's pretty much the big comparison of the two. As far as music goes, I'm going to give the nod to the Genesis version. As far as graphics, I'm going to go to the Genesis version. Animation, definitely go to the Genesis version. Presentation, go with the Genesis version. And gameplay, which is really the huge factor, you got to go with the Genesis version. The Super Nintendo version, like I said, it's not horrible. And if you have never played the Genesis version and you've only been exposed to the Nintendo version, you really need to go track down the Genesis iteration. Like I said, it is fun to knock off the slap shot. So, and Winnipeg is a horrible team, as it turns out. So yeah, I don't really know what much else to add. Yeah, they're really fun. Super Nintendo version is fun. Genesis version, I think, is a whole lot more fun. So there you go. If you're wondering what you're missing out on, if you've only played Super Nintendo version, well, you know what the Genesis version is like now. And if you've never played Super Nintendo version, well, there you go. That's what that's like. And once again, as I said at the very beginning of the video, you know, it is alright as the Super Nintendo version is. Truly, I think you've got to go with NHLPA Hockey 93. on the Sega Genesis. That is clearly the superior way to play NHLPA Hockey 93. And if you haven't played it, seriously folks, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?